What's up everyone, back with another video. So today we're talking about body types and why this myth really needs to be busted, needs to be destroyed, needs to be kicked. I know it might be beating a dead horse, but this horse deserves to be beaten repeatedly and aggressively by me in this video. So in this video, we're going to talk about the history of somatotypes or body types. We're going to talk about why they suck and might not be very useful for achieving the body of your dreams. We're going to talk about which fitness influencers are using body types just to prey on unsuspecting, less than knowledgeable people who think fitness really is as simple as a body type. We're going to talk about, do they have any merit? Are there actually any benefits to using them? And we're going to talk about a better way to classify your physique and get results. Because if you're like most people, you care about results. And so we're going to talk about how to actually get the body of your dreams. So first, let's go into the history of somatotypes. So somato stands for body, and type stands for type. So somatotype, body type. And this originally came from the American psychologist William Herbert Sheldon in the 1940s. So about 80 years ago. So this is quite a long myth, and it's still being used. So there are actually three layers of embryonic development. So the endoderm is actually the digestive tract. So it goes from your mouth down to the other side of things. And this is the endoderm. The mesoderm is what becomes the muscles, the heart, the blood vessels, and the ectoderm is the exterior. This is the skin and the nervous system. So these three layers are all sort of bundled together from the inside to the middle to the outside, and this is what forms a human being. So we all have all of these. If you're missing one of them, you're going to be in some trouble because you need all of them to really function in life. Now, his idea was that various people emphasize one of these. So endomorphs, they emphasize the digestive tract, and thus they put on fat very easily. They are very efficient with absorbing energy, vitamins, minerals. So they put on fat very easily. The mesomorph, they put on muscle very easily. So their heart is very strong, their circulatory system very strong, and they are very easy to get jacked. The ectomorph does not have fat and does not have muscle. There are a few very big problems with this manner of thinking. The first is that he is a psychologist. He's not a physiologist. He actually studies not even the human brain, but he studies the human mind. So this is a problem because you cannot base your thinking in psychology when you are trying to study the body. I think, this doesn't really have a lot of applications in a practical sense. So his thinking was that the endomorphs are, they put on fat because they are lazy, because they are very slothy. They don't move a lot. Is slothy a word? Or let's just keep going. So they don't move a lot. They're very lazy. They just like to sit around and eat. And, this might have a grain of truth, but this isn't because of your type. This isn't predestiny. You don't have like a predetermined path in life. It is your choice in a lot of cases. Similarly, the mesomorph, they put on a lot of muscle because they are strong and active and confident. Well, this isn't necessarily the case. There are a lot of mesomorphs who are actually very shy and very reserved. So your personality doesn't really have a lot of connection towards your physical appearance. Similarly, the ectomorph is supposed to be nervous, shy, reclusive, introverted, and this is why they don't put on muscle, and this is why they don't put on fat, because they're too busy trembling in a corner because this guy said that's what you have to do if you're skinny. Now, as with most myths, there is a grain of truth here. If someone is fat, it is more likely that they eat a lot, that they don't move as much. If someone is skinny, it's more likely that they don't eat as much, or that they, have a fast metabolism, that they are maybe a little bit more nervous, or they eat less. If someone is muscular, yeah, maybe they are more outgoing most of the time, or at least some of the time. But again, this is not a predetermined path. A lot of this is from your choices. And honestly, I've been all three. Another problem is that there are only 3 types, but maybe there really should be 4. So if you have no fat and you have a lot of muscle, you'll be classified as a mesomorph. If you have no fat and no muscle, you'll be an ectomorph. If you have fat but no muscle, you'll be an endomorph. But there's a 4th category. What if you have both muscle and fat? There's nothing that accounts for that. Are you like a super endo-meso combination? It just doesn't really make sense. There should be 4 classifications, but there's only 3. Furthermore, you can't break people into 3 types. You might see someone skinny, and you might say, oh, this is an ectomorph, but you don't really know their situation in life. Perhaps if they actually started to eat more and train, they would look like a mesomorph. And I've seen plenty of people, even clients of my own, who started looking like an ectomorph at the beginning, and then a few years later, they suddenly look like a mesomorph. Did their type change? Did their genetics change? I mean, maybe their genetic expression changed, but you really can't classify people into only 3 types. It doesn't work that way. It's way, way too simple. Same with endomorphs. If you take someone who is an endomorph, maybe they are 40% body fat and they look like an endomorph, you would say, oh, this is an endomorph for sure. Look at their type. They are greedy and sloth and they don't like to move. Well, if they choose to move, if they choose to train, if they choose to eat less, suddenly, again, over the course of many months, over the course of years, they can look like an ectomorph. Or if they train, they can look like a mesomorph or somewhere in the middle. So it's not always as clear as just 3 types. Furthermore, I think this can be self-limiting. If you say to yourself, I'm an endomorph, there's nothing I can do. This guy on the internet, he said I'm an endomorph and I'll always be an endomorph, so why would I even bother training? Why would I even bother, reading about nutrition and watching some YouTube videos and trying to get better? No, okay? In the vast majority of circumstances, you can get better. You can, quote unquote, change your type. You can change your body. And thinking that you can't because you are a certain type is really just silly. For example, I've looked like an ectomorph. When I was running a lot, when I wasn't eating very much, I lost muscle. I didn't have very much muscle to start with. I didn't have very much fat. You can see I'm pretty lean. However, when I got injured or when I just wasn't running very much, I put on some fat because I kept eating a lot of food and I stored it as fat. Now, does this mean that I'm suddenly an endomorph? No. It means that given my environment, given my choices, I put on fat, which is a natural consequence of those choices. Similarly, most people would say now, I am a mesomorph. I am a pure mesomorph. Look at his muscles, look at his frame, look at his shape, look at his lack of body fat. Well, this came from hard work over many years. This came from training. This came from diet. This came from actually applying real science. Not just some body type, but actually thinking about how to change your body. There are 2 main ways that fitness influencers scam people in the fitness industry. The first is going to be making things complicated, using very, very scientific language, using some complex systems, making everything seem so difficult that of course you will buy their program, because there's no way that you'll be able to do things on your own. There are 18 million things killing your gains, and the only thing to do is to buy the program, or watch the videos, or invest your money, because there's just no way you could possibly do it by yourself. The other way is making things overly simplistic. So if someone says to you, what is your body type? And then you say, oh, you look down at your belly and you say, I'm an endomorph. They say, oh, I have a plan for you. Based on your body type, I know exactly what to do. Now give me money. That is playing into the idea that it is a simplistic system, that they know exactly what to do and they've seen your type a million times before. This is false. This is absolutely false. The only one who has your body type is you. Even if you have a twin, they do not have your body type because they have made different choices in life. So the only one who has your body type is you. So there are 7 or 8 billion body types on the planet. Look at Eddie Hall. He's been an endomorph. Look at that belly. He's been a mesomorph. Look at Dorian Yates. When he started, he looked kind of like an ectomorph, but when he finished, I know there's some substances involved, but when he finished, he looked a lot like a mesomorph. No matter what type you are, muscle is built in the same way. Fat is lost in the same way. It is always going to be an individual concern, whether it's hormone levels, genetics, training, diet, sleep. These are individual concerns. And it needs to be just that, individual, not based on a type. It's hard to hear, it's less convenient. You want to have a plan that works for your type, but you really do need to have an individual approach. So one last thing, do they have any merit? No, they do not. It might be difficult to hear, but the body is a lot more complex than just 3 types, and it is not useful to think in this overly simplistic way. It might be less convenient, but it's going to be more accurate and more useful. Let me know if there's any other myths that you want me to demolish, dissolve, dispel, slap around a little bit, have my way with. Make sure to like the video, turn on notifications so you don't miss any other videos, and I will see you next time. Peace!